What methods do you think best fixes or solves these kind of conflicts?
Of course, around us, our environment, the people talking around us, um, music sometimes can be barriers whenever we're talking to another person or with our group, especially during events. Yeah, like maraming conflicts, ganan.
First of all, I would just like to point out how important communication really is, not just in resolving conflicts, but also in our daily life experiences.
Hello everybody! This is your chinitang dancer ng Talisayan, Mikay!
And this is your sassy crocheter ng City, Claire. Welcome to
Welcome
CHIKADORA'S
to the
PODCAST.
podcast. So today we're going to be talking about the role of communication in conflict resolution through a scenario.
Yes, and without wasting time, let's begin.
We shall. Now picture this. Maria feels undervalued when James insists on handling the technical task himself rather than Maria, causing conflict in their group project. They addressed the issue through open communication, realizing it was a misunderstanding and agreeing to collaborate. As a result, their teamwork improves and the project benefits. Now, from the scenario, Claire, why do you think communication plays such a huge role in resolving conflicts, like Maria and James?
First of all, I would just like to point out how important communication really is, not just in resolving conflicts, but also in our daily life experiences. In James and Maria's scenario naman, Maria did feel undervalued kasi James only focused sa technical issues without even discussing collaboration within their team, which is with Maria, and it led to some tension between the both of them. With these kind of conflicts or any conflicts that we may deal in our daily life, I think communication allows the team or both people to express their feelings and clear out both their expectations to each other. For communication kasi most of the time leads to us creating assumptions and all that. But with proper communication amongst the team, I think it really plays a huge role in creating a safe environment for everyone to collaborate.
I actually agree on you with that because most of the time, again, we assume things far too much that we fail to recognize that those assumptions aren't exactly what they are trying to tell us, right?
Mm.
And other than that, I also agree that proper communication amongst the team is something that's very huge and plays a very important role in creating a safe environment because when we have a safe environment for talking, there's trust, and then we can also ascertain that, hey, I don't think someone like them will have these intentions in mind. And that's very important to distinguish between the intention of the speaker themselves.
Mm-mm. But how about you, Mikay? Have you been in a spot where active listening flipped a conflict? Just like for Marie and James. If James had listened first, he might have heard her strengths beyond tech.
I mean, I think not only me, but I think most of us, right,
Mm.
relate to this situation, especially if like we're people who are very interested in being in groups or have been exposed to group works or being part of a group. So in my own experience, I have been in conflict with others, but I have resolved them through active listening. And other people might misunderstood active listening as only partly listening to the conversation or partly listening to the speaker themselves. But active listening can also involve asking for clarity on what exactly the message is, especially when there's a lot of barriers, a lot of hindrances around us that hinder how we receive the message itself. It's important that we not only learn to control the environment, but we also learn to actually focus on the person. So through those times when I really focused on the person, and again, I clarified everything with the person, asking the questions, necessary questions to really better understand what they were trying to say to me so that I won't misunderstood them or misjudge what they have told me. And through that, it actually helped me not just understand or resolve the problem, but it helps us have a more harmonious relationship with others. So, yeah, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, from what you said about like groups, being involved in groups, or like how communication plays a very huge role in creating a safe environment for everyone to collaborate. So from that, I also like wonder, as future leaders in a generation, what do you think can we do to like create a culture of open communication so small disagreements don't, explode?
As future leaders, I think we should create a safe environment for the team for them to be able to freely voice out their opinions and suggestions. Safe space where I, as their leader, also share my uncertainties and admit my mistakes and not just point out sa kung sinong makita kong magkamali sa grupo, where they could also feel supported with what they suggest and do. And most importantly, where they could feel joy doing the task they're doing and empowered for our teamwork. I think it's also very important to establish ground rules, which is respect. That is very important because
Very
I
important.
do think na sa respeto nanggagaling yun lahat. And without respect, there's going to be no peace sa team niyo.
Yeah. Like maraming conflicts, gan-
Mm-hmm.
ganun. At other than conflicts, parang mandidiri yung iba.
Mm-mm.
They
Because we
have
all have different point of views, man good.
Yes, and because of that, there are times when you unintentionally assumed something, and because of that assumption, parang meron kang emotional baggage na dinadala. Especially if like
Mm-mm.
you are angry at the person because he said something that really, you didn't like, or not like, but you were, ano about it? It didn't, it didn't sound well to you. And
Mm-mm.
term. So ayun, parang you become emotional sometimes instead of acting calmly about it.
Mm-mm. So, yun nga, as you've mentioned, we are our future leaders. So,
Yes.
as leaders, ikaw and I think ako din, have experienced being a leader now with schoolworks, orgs, and all those stuffs. When there's miscommunication going around within the team, we try resolving the conflict with clarity from both sides, diba? What do you think are those barriers that makes the conflict worse? And what methods do you think best fixes or solves these kind of conflicts?
I think, of course, around us, our environment, the people talking around us, um, music sometimes can be barriers whenever we're talking to another person or with our group, especially during events, during very hectic events where there are a lot of things going around you. Those can be very difficult barriers to overcome, but I think if you handle it well, you'll be able to resolve it naman, or solve the problem and answer how you can communicate with the other person by maybe not exactly eliminating the barriers, but handling the barriers. And
Mm-hmm.
for example, the barrier of having a noisy environment, and you'll not be able to listen carefully to the one speaking. So it's best if you raise your, for example, if it's a host and in a crowded room or in a crowded event, it's much better to raise your hand and clarify things early on so that you may have an understanding. But if it's like one-on-one conversation with a friend or someone else in a group, it's better that you approach them and listen on what they are trying to say so that you can grasp at what the message is. And other than that, there are again, assumptions. We have to clear assumptions by leaving out our biases, by not, not just directly assume someone's intention from what they said, but connect the dot and try to figure out what exactly are they trying to say by saying that. Clarifying again. And there's also like listening difficulties, biases, and unwillingness. And it's best to fix those with open communication, with respect. Again, with what you said, respect is very important because through respect, you understand that both of you guys are individuals. You're bound to have mistakes. You're bound to mistaken what they said for another. So yes. And what can you say about that, Shane?
Yeah, I do agree about it because about the you can't really I think it's kind of summary of what you said that you
Yeah,
can't really eliminate the barrier, but you could just limit it.
exactly. Yes. Now I have a question for both of us.
Oh, what is it?
Now I'm curious about how exactly or your insights on how healthy communication not only just fixes issues but strengthens teams. Because for me, I do believe that the right healthy communication it does resolve some issues and it fixes a lot of it makes it helps the group strive for understanding, respect, and to clear out misunderstandings. Again, we can't highlight this enough. Misunderstanding is very common
Mm,
for people who do not understand how to control or how to limit the barriers that are going around them. And also, I think it strengthens the teams because it gives trust, right? What do you think?
mm. Yeah, I think you just said what I think.
Right?
Yeah. And yeah, and that brings us to the end of today's episode, Mikay.
Oh, really? Oh, I almost didn't notice the time because I enjoyed our talk so much.
Definitely. Today's discussion showed how powerful communication is in resolving conflicts. When people take the time to listen, express their feelings, and clarify intentions, misunderstanding can turn into opportunities for our growth.
Yeah. And I also think that powerful communication also like opens space for clear and respectful communication. That doesn't just solve problems, but it strengthens relationship because there is a difference between just solving a problem. You can solve a
Mhm.
problem but still have lingering emotions, like lingering angry or negative emotions for those people or for your members. So yeah, it strengthens relationships and leads to better outcomes.
Yes, I agree. So before we go, I think um, for the one listening, think about a conflict you've
Everyone,
faced and how communication played a role in it. What might have changed if there had been more listening and clearer expression? So once again, this is your sassy cashier ng Cereal City, Claire.
and this is your chinitang dancer ng talisayan, Mikay. And that's a
And
wrap
that's a wrap for today's
for today's
Chica with the Chicadoras.
podcast. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
everyone!
Thank you for listening.